Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us all at our International Women's Day event. My name is Sophia Jacob, and I'm the founder of Canadian Women of Color Leadership Network. The Canadian Women of Color Leadership Network is a grassroots organization that was established in 2018 on unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin territory known as Ottawa. The network provides racialized and non-binary people with career and educational services that will empower and educate them for leadership positions in their careers. Through an intersectional feminist framework, we aim to empower racialized women and non-binary professionals with the necessary skills, tools, and connections in order to overcome systemic barriers and be reflected in upper-level leadership and management positions in the workplace. We provide a space for community amongst BIPOC women in any and all stages of their careers, whether they are just starting out or if they're in an entrepreneur field. Today, our network is hosting this event in Ottawa, which is located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. And we extend our respect to all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people for their valuable past and present contributions to this land. For International Women's Day, it's around the globe, and we are celebrating the achievements of women, the increased support for women's movements, and the uprising to call out the inequalities that women face every day. The theme for this year's Women's International Day is Choose to Challenge. So today and every day, we are choosing to challenge systemic anti-Black racism and oppression. Today and every day, we choose to challenge the wage gap that pays women less than men. Today and every day, we choose to challenge investors and large corporations to invest in BIPOC women founders and small women-owned and led businesses. Today and every day, we choose to challenge folk to support and fundraise for female-focused charities. So today, we choose to challenge many things that stand in the way of opportunities for women. Today, let us celebrate our accomplishments, our resilience, and our essence. We give a special shout out to the women who are working in the essential jobs and who are helping our communities survive and thrive. There's still much work to be done, but together we can create the change that we want to see. So today, our network has invited 4 powerhouse women who, through their platforms, are raising up the voices of Black women and women of color. They each have created a space that gives women opportunities for self-expression, a place to share ideas, a space for learning new skills and honing in on their expertise, a judgment-free zone where you can speak your mind, and so much more. So let's meet these phenomenal women. Just before their introductions, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Black Ottawa Business Network, Clean Beauty and Soaps, One Resource Services Corporation, Aroma Salt Therapy and Beauty Spa, and the Ottawa Women of Color Networking Group. Welcome again, ladies. We're so happy to have you all here. I'll start by asking each of the panelists to please take a moment to introduce yourself and your organization. So Brenda, I'll start with you.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Sophia, for this great opportunity. My name is Brenda Williams, and I'm the founder and executive director of Newlife Project Incorporation. It's a nonprofit organization here, and our goal is to inspire women, to educate them, and also to empower them through we do forums. It also depends on children, if I should add, in terms of youth, and we do that through forums, online forum. We do also that through arts and craft classes. And we also do that through relief programs where we even reach out to women abroad in impoverished countries. And so Newlife is all about encouraging women to take a leap into their destiny and become who they are created to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. Halcian?
Hi, everyone. Happy International Women's Day again. And I'm so happy, Sophia, to be on this platform tonight. I'm Halcian Joseph-Clost. I'm the co-founder of Women Speak Up. Women Speak Up is a forum that my husband Richard and I started in July 2019. as a place for women to develop their voices for personal and community change. We started our very first event at Brenda's shop. So kudos to Brenda, who's been an inspiration and a mentor for us. We believe that a woman needs to know that her voice matters and that she has a voice and her voice can make a change. And so in our activities and events, we encourage the women to step out, and challenge those restrictions and those barriers. And we provide guest speakers to support the women in identifying those barriers. Myself, I always tell the women that we're on a journey together. I'm also breaking out of shyness and breaking out of negative experiences from the past that sometimes hinder us as women. So we have as a tagline, develop your voice and unlock your potentials, because we believe when a woman finds her voice, she finds herself. So thank you.
Amazing, Halcian. Thank you. Stacey-Ann?
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Stacey-Ann, and again, thank you, Sophia, for inviting us to be here. So I am the co-founder of Build Out Loud, which makes space for Black women to thrive in Ottawa. Last year, my co-founder, Marin Berhe, we decided to create this space for Black women in our city, and Build Out Loud caters to Black women entrepreneurs, but also intrapreneurs, creatives to learn, create, and foster connections. And we have 3 types of programming for our community. So the first one is Co-work and Chill, which is a monthly co-working space on Saturday mornings where we teach a topic for 20 minutes. And then Black women work on their stuff for 45 minutes, then we network at the end. So that's Co-work and Chill. The second event is Deep Work Zone, so a longer time, so 2 hours on a weeknight, using deep work principles, and we use white noise and accountability. And then last week, we launched Black Girl Play Date, which is just basically a time to integrate play and joy on a Friday night. So that's our 3 types of programming. And again, so happy to be here with everybody.
Fantastic. Marie-Ange?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sophia, for inviting us. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Marie-Ange Ahinful, and I'm the founder and CEO of Leading Ladies Canada. So Leading Ladies Canada started in 2019. So we are a not-for-profit organization led by Black women with the mission to empower Black women and youth through leadership development, education, financial literacy, and various social and community initiatives. So we really have 5 programs. So we do leadership, entrepreneurship, mentorship, community outreach, educational, and yes, so we have those programs to just have the Black women in our community. So that's about me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But I'm going to continue the conversation with you for a second, Marie-Ange. Let's start with this question. Why did you start your online group or platform?
That's a good question. Thank you so much, Sophia. I kind of divide it by title, by name. So I have 4 small way of explaining. First of all, it's really relationship. So the time you start a group, as the way I started at the beginning, it was through friends and colleagues and family members. So I wanted to build that relationship with the whole community. So the way of doing it, it was really to a platform, online platform that I can put myself up there. So Leading Ladies Canada online platform started because we wanted to create and build that relationship with the Black woman all over Canada. Second of all, represent what we stand for as a group. So our focus is to empower Black women on a personal and professional level. So to do so, we need to represent what we stand for through various social media platforms. We are very serious, like I can say, very serious about what we do. So we are making sure to communicate our work, our program, our initiative through various social media. So you can pretty much see us in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So we're really up there. Another one is we want our community to trust us. So to build that trust, you have to be up there in the platform that you can communicate with the whole community. So we are giving and spending a lot of time and our skill and effort to empower Black women in communication through the platform social media. And lastly, I can say learning. So beside hosting webinar events to bring awareness on issues that affected the Black community, leading ladies stand up for the Black community publicly by conducting meetings with counselors. I know, Sophia, you know about it, and with the MPPs and city leaders to make a great impact for the community. So Leading Lady members attend town hall meetings, both online and in person, and we like to stay informed on opportunities presented from minority groups so we can equip ourselves and our members on how to best give back to the community.
That's amazing. I heard impact, I heard community, I heard initiatives, I heard political. There's many things that these organizations are doing, and Leading Ladies Canada is out there, not only doing it here in the capital city of Ottawa, but also across the nation. So we're really, really happy to have you on the platform and your organization. Let's do a little bit further of a deep dive. What unique activities are you doing on your online platform? Like you said, you're doing some political conversations, but is there anything that's unique to the organization, and what are you doing there?
Sure. So like you say, we host informative webinar on finance, race issues, getting community involvement by giving back to the homeless shelters. So we do as donations. We host various free health and fitness online activities. And during Black History Month, we highlight Black excellence in all our social media. So in the past, pre-COVID, we had some fashion show, and we broadcasted in our social media as well for showing some African Caribbean fashion. We also brought some public speaker to talk about mental health and some Black mental health in the Black community, and the importance of financial literacy as well. So we have literacy online book reading for kids. So that one we started, and it's really good to bring our kids involved in this platform, online platform. One of our many achievements from last year was getting support from the municipal government. We had government officials sponsor us and supporting us, in the community, as we do a lot for giving back to the community.
That is really good. Now we're talking about our youth and empowering our youth, our young women and ladies to come in and doing, you guys are doing financial literacy and empowering reading. These are all great things that women-led organizations that are particularly taking up the space online are doing. Just because we cannot meet in person doesn't mean we cannot still involve our youth on online platforms. And we really need to do that because they need to see the faces who are before them that look like them. So this is another fantastic thing that's happening with your organization. And again, in your opinion, how is your platform helping women, particularly women of color, scale up?
I can say often women of color don't have access to the same resources as others. So Leading Lady Canada is changing things out. That's what we are about. We want to change things out. So we are elevating women of color to fight against discrimination. We support them financially by holding fundraising events. We stand connected with the underserved community by meeting one-on-one with members that send us emails. We educate Black women. Like I said, we really dare to education with it. So we do a lot of educating Black women and encouraging Black women on new ventures. So to do this for me was a new venture. So I really encourage people to move forward and do something new, take initiative, and introduce them to our network or experts and connecting. Like I say, we do sponsorship, we do mentorship. So that pretty much help Black women to just elevate, you know. And an example I can say, leading ladies is currently in the talk of various Black professionals, so we can kick out the mentorship. So we kind of contacting a lot of professionals, so we can have a mentorship program that will just help the young generation to be having that platform. And as well, we help women to become leader and entrepreneur. So we have the entrepreneurship program and that leadership program. So we're gonna be doing a lot this year. For the next month, you're gonna see a lot coming, talking about more leadership and entrepreneurship and mentorship program.
This is fantastic. And I think everyone here on the platform as our panelists have a little piece to do with leadership, mentorship, encouraging women, encouraging investing in yourself and others investing in Black women-led organizations. So this is serious choose to challenge, and you're choosing to challenge us as women of color, Black women, to be able to come out of our box and scale up. So it's really excellent. Thank you so much, Marie-Ange. My next question is for you, Brenda. In your opinion, do online groups or forums offer the same value as face-to-face gatherings?
Thank you, Sophia. That's quite an interesting question. First of all, I want to start by saying that forums have always existed in different forms. So we've always have online forums, whether it's physical or virtual, even before the pandemic. Okay, and they are both important, but what I've also learned is that from experience over the years, we used to have normally from Newlife perspective, we had forums. We started with online in terms of in 2015, 16, we were doing a phone call or conference call, which was with Cauliflower. It's a kind of platform we were using. And we had a forums through phone, which was very interesting. And we realized that women, gave themselves in terms of communication, but there was a need for us to see each other. There was a need for us to just put the face to the voice, okay? There are benefits from online gathering. For example, definitely there'll be an increased participation, as we're seeing right now with after the pandemic, is that a lot of people will be a part of it. Definitely it saves time in terms of moving from one place to another. And what else? You are home, so you definitely have to be a part of it. But it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. When we talk about gathering, there is just something about being around a table as women. There is just something about seeing somebody face to face, trying to catch the message, whatever they're saying. There's just something about body language when we are together, especially as a speaker. Now, as I'm speaking, I don't know how the participants are reacting. Would they be able to understand what I'm really saying? Does it make sense? So being around the table, being in a room, even if it's a coffee shop, there are many things as speakers that you can able to detect or maybe approve or like reach out because of body language, which we normally don't have when we have at times forums online. Because in fact, most people, when we have forums online, you see all the screens are black. Because a lot of people want to protect their privacy. But in a room where we have gathering, you definitely see whether this person is like getting it. Okay, maybe is this something making a difference and things like that. So that's another thing about the value of having that. And we all knew what happened when we had the coronavirus. People longed for just a hug. And I can see that when we had forums because when Newlife Project started, aim was to inspire women. And there was a way we we were determined to make sure the speakers meet, because there's something about you meeting the speaker. There's something about you also building a relationship from that communication, from that conversation when you were in a room together, especially the networking part of it. When it's time for networking and, see people go around, asking questions, hugging each other, just being there as women. Some of the things are actually limited when it comes to online forum. The best you can do is give high five or hug, or, a virtual hug on screen. So for me, online forum, it's good, as right now, some people are joining me from the States and stuff like that. There's a lot of online presence, but we can't replace it with the being there. As I look into I'm right now in the office, as I look into the center, I remember those days when women would gather here and we're discussing the topic about, being inspired, for example, and you can see from their eyes, they're really being challenged. You can communicate something. And after the program, we had times when we cried because the word was so touching, the testimony, the reality, and all that human connection is very important. And from there, I knew a lot of people who had built great relationships. So Sophia, it's good that we are continuing to have the forums online because we need to challenge ourselves no matter what. The pandemic cannot stop us, but I long personally for that for that presence in physical.
I think so too. And I think we all long for the human connection, that human connecting piece, that networking, the vibe in the room when you're personally there is different when you're networking online. The online is good because, we're forced and restricted to stay home right now. But when you come together, when I spoke about the essence and who we are and what we bring to each other, you feel that energy and electrician go through the room. The electricity is it's so powerful. That alone in itself makes me cry when I'm amongst Black women and women of color. I know the struggle, I know how I'm feeling, and I know they know my experiences too. And there I'm able to be lifted up and supported. So you're absolutely right, Brenda. There's nothing like being together, but I'm glad that we're able to get online and share time together. So over to Halcian. Halcian, for you, where do you host the group and why did you choose that platform?
So thank you for the question, Sophia. So we host our events on Zoom. We didn't start on Zoom, online, of course. We started in person, but because of the current reality, we host on Zoom. And it's great for us in the sense that we have been able to reach women not only locally, but internationally. I know I have some women joining tonight who are watching from Trinidad and Tobago, women as well as men. And the platform has been really good for that. It's a low cost option for connection. And the breakout feature is one of the features that we really enjoy on Zoom because it allows for those intimate conversations, safe conversations. Some persons prefer to speak in a small group than in an open plenary with everyone else. So we really enjoy using Zoom, and we're hoping to be able to move to other platforms, including YouTube, but at this time we're using Zoom.
Did everybody have such a learning curve when they had to go and learn Zoom? I tell you.
Oh my.
I'm telling you, when I had to learn Zoom, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my.
And then I noticed that I wanted to continue to do these type of conversations and I needed to come back in connection. There was such a loss. I know when we started, we have something called Conversation Circle every month. It's a sacred space. Halcian's been there and a couple of the other ladies. It's a sacred space for us to meet, talk, share, and thrive and just be private. And I like that Zoom is giving me the opportunity to keep it private and keep it sacred for women of color and Black women to come together to be able to share on different topics of conversation. So I had to learn Zoom and I also had to upgrade my Zoom. So I use the Zoom platform too. I know some people use other spaces, but I think right now Zoom is the thing. And I know the folks over at Zoom, they have are probably very happy that their stock went through the roof. It was an opportunity for them to scale up as well. So that's great. Stacey-Ann, what made you decide to have a space only for women?
Yeah, so, as I'm looking at the panelists that are here today, I think we are probably the new kid on the block, right? So we actually launched during the pandemic. So Marin and I, we were thinking about Build Out Loud in our minds in like 2018, 2019, but we actually launched during the pandemic. And so we both grew up in Ottawa, and we were looking for a space where Black women can get together and create. And so when I say that, from our experience, you know, there are so many good resources out there. There's webinars, there's workshops, right? There's newsletters, there's YouTube, there's all this stuff. And from our experience, we would leave these sessions inspired, have all these ideas, but wouldn't have the time and the space to actually get things done. And so that was our idea to, you know, create that space and carve out that time for Black women to get things done. And so I work in education, and a big piece of education is learning by doing, right? You can read as many textbooks as you want. You can, even when you're learning how to drive a car, you can read the book, but you need to get on the road, right? So we decided to build a space for women who look like us. We held a focus group in 2019 just to see what their ideas were. And they said, yeah, we need a space for us to get things done, a space for accountability, to meet like-minded women. And so it's interesting because Marin and I went back and forth on this. And so Marin's my co-founder, and we were like, okay, do we target this as diverse women, right? Or women of color, you know, that at the beginning, but we decided to go with our souls with this and said, listen, let's just call it as it is, right? This is a safe space for Black women to meet, to work on things, to ask questions, to create. And also, I think it's important to know that, you know, when we talk about Black women, we are not a monolith, right? Black women, we come with different cultural backgrounds, languages, age, experience, abilities. So even in that space, we are learning from each other. So that was the reason why we want to create a safe space for Black women for Build Out Loud.
That's amazing. And there's so many intersects and so many different facets of who we are as Black women, all different shapes, ages, experiences. We bring so much education to each other in our different career paths. So much is going on with Black women and women of color and how we move about our life in our everyday challenges, that we have spaces like yours and Halcian's, Marie-Ange and Brenda's spaces to go. And when they come to ours as well, there's just that piece again of living and growing and learning and thriving, and just that connection to be able to teach me something and I can teach you something. And that seeing you knowing this inspires me even more, you know, seeing you in your space, and I know you look like me and there's other women who look like each other in that space, is just, it uplifts you a little bit more each day, each time you go back. And I love the women who come back and they want to, you know, work on themselves and do the work. And you guys are offering that in Build Out Loud and all the other platforms. So that's strength to me. That's you know, our resilience to go back and be able to continue to learn. So it's there's beauty there. Brenda, what are some of the challenges you have faced or will have faced in running a successful platform like yours? What are some of the challenges that you face there?
You already said the first one. I can remember, you know, like old school, you're so used to just being in a room, and then the first Zoom call we had when the pandemic hit, it was already been planned, and then we know it's not going to be in a room, and now we have to go online. And I remember just looking at this Zoom thing, I'm like, what is this? And seeing all these different things that you have to do, set up. And I called one of my board, I'm like, you know something, jump in here, because I think by the time we finish setting it up, I think we'll be sending them to America with our connections. But technology, you know, it's evolved a lot, and it's something that, I mean, as Black women, I'll encourage all of us to always stay on top, you know, because this really exposed a lot of the technological problems some of us had when we are not actually keeping abreast with technology in terms of the platforms that are available now, you know. There are so many platforms available that you can use, and some of them are even for free. So I had a problem with sometimes glitches. So you know how Zoom is at times, especially when I remember one program when I had it was about another empowerment program, and I remember some women, I can't get in, and I'm trying to click to see, and there, things like that in the middle of a conversation, it can be a little bit, shaky for you whilst you're speaking, you're getting this texts or these messages. So just keeping that coordination at times can be a challenge also, making sure all the speakers are there, everything is set, and it happens. Technical problems happen when you don't even plan for it. So I think one of the things we should do as leaders, especially that most of our programs are online, is to stay on top of technology, and also to make sure we enforce that, in terms of discipline with participants, because I also face a lot of people with, at times I want to leave the mute button off to give people, because I do a lot of interactive programs during my forums, because I want people to feel like this is a space that you can really speak out, speak up, say, come in when it's time, to make it a little bit real, like the physical. But then a lot of times you have all those background noises, distractions, you have to like maybe repeat or say, can you mute, and stuff like that. But as time goes on, I found out a lot of people now are getting used to the muting, and even blocking themselves out. So that's another problem also we had when we were doing the online forum. And one last one also is if you notice with online forums, you have to make sure you put your program time in terms of duration to a certain time where people's attention span can be, maintained. So planning a program with so many details and time, and trying to be within that 1 hour or 1.5 hour, limit time, can be a little bit challenging, especially some of us as women, we have a lot of words, so that's another challenge, but it all takes discipline. Because we are growing. This pandemic has helped us to grow, as leaders, grow, in the technology world, grow in terms of connecting with our peers, connecting with women of color. So these are some of the few ones I think I can also bring out. Then one thing also is sharing documents. I don't know if you guys have had this problem wherein people have to share their slides, and maybe there's a confusion, it's not coming up and stuff like that. So I think as women of color, it's time for us to try to learn the nitty-gritties about this online, because it's not going to go away soon. We are going to be on this online platform, so it's better we master them, and then we'll definitely continue to empower ourselves and build ourselves up the best we can.
Absolutely. The learning curves have been there, being able to master Zoom or master the platforms that you need to be on. But it also, like you said, Brenda, it's helped us grow. We are a Canadian organization. We're piloted here in Ottawa, but we are a Canadian organization. We're able to come across to everybody through, but we've also had women join our conversations from the UK and the United States. They saw us online. They knew, they read what the platform was all about, and they came into the conversation. They always asked, can we be here? And I said, of course. You're a woman of color. You have something to say and you want to share with other women of color. So come on in. I don't just say, oh, it's only for Canadian women. It is for all women of color, Black women and women of color, to be able to come in and have that same experience. And so they've returned, and we have more people joining each time. So it's been wonderful. Let me see. Halcian, what is one strategy you can share that you use to grow your platform?
For us, I would say that, the word of mouth strategy is the best strategy, that we've seen bringing growth to our forum. Everybody likes to hear a success story. Everybody likes to hear a woman who has overcome difficulty or have broken through in different spheres of influence. And so we have found that the women who have been impacted by our events have been sharing with other women. We have 3-4 women brought by one person into the forum, and it's been really, really tremendous in that way. And so we always tell the ladies, tell somebody, tell another woman. As women, we know how to to shop for something that's really good, right? We know how to tell another sister when you found a good bargain, when you found a good deal. So we capitalize on that. Tell somebody your experience.
There's nothing like word of mouth. The share button is always there and you can click it until your fingers fall off. But when you share with somebody word of mouth, or you tell somebody, I went to this awesome event, this great networking event, I went to a space where we're working on ourselves, come and join. That is one of the best ways and one of the best strategies I found for somebody to join an online platform, to come in and be able to work on themselves and work in a space that is collaborative. So that's really, really good, Halcian. Thank you for that suggestion. Or it's one that's always been there, but sometimes we forget because we're trying to use all technology and not just going back to the way that had worked the entire time, which is word of mouth. Stacey-Ann, I have almost like a 3-part question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So have you partnered, collaborated, or used cross-promotion with other like-minded groups or platforms? If so, what are some of the benefits that resulted from the partnership? And did that help to grow your platform? Example, like new members, more opportunities, other abilities to collaborate with other organizations and other forums?
Yeah, so we launched during the pandemic. So as we're growing, we're learning, and we definitely know the importance of collaborating and partnering with other like-minded groups. And I'll say this, that the women that have joined our sessions are just awesome women. Like, these people have side hustles, right? People are trying to pivot during their careers. Some of them have podcasts, radio shows. So that's where we're seeing the opportunity to like cross promote with the women in our community. It is definitely our goal. So it's one of our goals or metrics for planning to collaborate more. So it's kind of nice to be on a panel with other women that are doing amazing things. But we've also learned, in the space of, the nonprofit world, like running a nonprofit, seeking funding, right? The importance of collaboration, all those things are important nuggets that you will only get by talking to other people in the field. And so that's what we're learning, right? These are not courses you get in school, in K-12, but you kind of have to like talk to people. So that's where our focus is for 2021, is to really collaborate more with amazing organizations. But the women that do join our sessions, whether it's Coworker Chill or Deep Work Zone, they also have great platforms. And so it's just great to kind of hear what they're doing and collaborate with them as well.
Absolutely. On the back end of various conversations that I've had within Canadian Women of Color Leadership Network, through our Conversation Circle series, I've realized that a lot of other women have started other platforms to be able to do the same thing, be able to have that connection. Without it, it just seems that there's a loss, and there's so much creativity that comes out when you're able to do that. Learning how to grant write, because some of these groups have been turning into nonprofits, and because they've noticed that there's a gap. We started this network for one of those reasons. There's a gap there. There's a gap where you want to see women in leadership positions, in management positions, in the C-suite. There's a gap there. And I didn't see enough Black women and women of color in those chairs. And so I said, I want to be able to create a space where people can come and learn, be able to gain new skills, collaborate, build partnerships, to be able to get those women who are either our young women or our more experienced women to either be mentors, be mentees, and then be able to become a mentor one day and be able to move on to be a leader in whatever career they want to go into. Even if they're not in, say, career in organization and they're an entrepreneur, I want them to be able to hustle and thrive in that space and be a leader in that area. Even if they're part of an organization and they want to just become the senior leader of X, let's get them there. Women in trades is another big thing too. Want to be able to, drive my own and have my own trucking business and be able to have my, an architect. And there's so many things that Black women and women of color are doing, and they need a space maybe to gain a new skill. people who are part of our network have those skills and are able to help learn, teach, mentor, and lead. So to be able to pull another sister up is what we want to be able to do. And I realize that with all of our platforms, that's what we're all doing, and doing that work to be able to pull women up and pull other leaders up. Even if you're going through a second career is important too, because through the pandemic, sometimes there was a loss, sometimes it was devastating loss. But I realize with our resilience that we are able to say, okay, we're going to put our boots on, pull our bootstraps up, and be able to move into something different. What is that? Let me go out and seek and find other women who look like me to be able to, you know what I mean? Give me those tips and tools. And maybe I need to go back and do a little bit of education, but I have a support system. And now that they're online, there's many that you can find the support in. And you guys all have amazing groups to be able to join. And so that's why I wanted to bring us all together to have this conversation. Very important, very important. So you go to Brenda. At times, challenging discussions bring out the more passionate side of folks. What rules or parameters of engagement have you set up to keep the conversation moving in a positive direction?
That's a very great question. Sophia, first of all, as I said, Newlife Project, we're not just empower women, we're empowering youth. So that means that during my, for example, like I was going through some of the participant list, I noticed some of my interns, because we do train interns here for entrepreneurship programs, and also we have some of public school boards sending some of them for just you know, like helping them to build up their skills. So when I do organize forums, I have a lot of people in mind, not just adults. So that means that, first of all, if you go to my website, you will notice under the Women's World Forum page that I have the values for Newlife, in the sense that we are in, it's a place with no judgment, free of intimidation, a place where women are empowered, a place where women draw strength. So I try to put it there because, in a way, it's to let whoever is going to the website, whoever thinking about joining Newlife Women's World Forum, see our values already. So that's the first thing I do. Okay, I did, just to get people to understand, in this little place that we are, the world is full of so many critical criticism. We want to feel free here. We don't want to be judged. Okay, and at the start of my program, also what I try to do is, before, when I'm doing my introduction, I also try to you know, let my participants know that this is a place, a safe place, and I want you guys to feel free. And also, it's a place wherein whatever is said here, in terms of, because at times some of my forums can get personal, you know, I want it to stay here. So I count on your confidentiality in terms of, like, keep some things just for us, you know, because we are women. At times you go so many places and you want to say something, but here, because I consider a safe space. So I try to pull those little things in place. And in terms of, I won't say that I've got conversation that have gone out of place in terms of, you know, venting or, like, you know, people, whatever, but few that happen, one of the first thing I do, I try to jump in immediately as a leader, you know, and try to redirect, you know, gently, because we have also to be careful, Sophia, because some people don't have anywhere to really release whatever they're going through and hurt. And sometimes some hurtful conversation or angry conversation is because of what the person is going through. So even as we are saying, this platform is for us to thrive and stuff like that, remember, it's a platform also to heal. You know what I mean? So by redirecting them in a gentle way, still allowing them to vent, but like giving them opportunity so that we can have this conversation later, you know, without just bashing them out. I think it's another one of my strategies that I do to redirect people to coming back to positivity in terms of the discussion. But I have noticed that it's really rare for me to go to forums wherein you have women, actually, you know, because we have so much out there that when we come, we're looking for support and whatever thing you're going through, you just want to make sure you end it well as a forum. So the online platform for me has been great, and it's a real place where women come with a positive attitude, like to learn, to be inspired, to be challenged. So it's hardly that I have situations like when I do have them, these are the few ways that I can try to help women to really understand that, yes, it's good to be able to bring out your emotions, but also it's a space where other people want to be positive.
Absolutely. Confidentiality is a big thing for a lot of people, particularly in a space in a digital age where we can't be as behind closed doors as we want to be. We want to be able to keep things, private sometimes. And in our conversation circle with us, we do the same thing. We only open it to women of color and have that space just for us to have that conversation. We don't put it on live, we don't record, we don't allow screen recording, we don't allow pictures, we don't do any of that. It is just there to have that time and have that space to be able to come together as one and have, like you said, sometimes the trauma is coming out. Sometimes those conversations of lived experience is coming out, and we want to be able to keep those conversations private. We also ask that people, when you're signing up on the Eventbrite, that when you sign up, you're going to be abiding by that. And I take that so seriously because I want to be able to protect my participants as much as possible. So it's confidentiality and redirecting the positive conversations for women of color to be positive and feel in that positive atmosphere to bring them back to a space of wanting to challenge themselves, like you said, and learn, thrive, and continue to go forward in a positive way. Halcian, what is something you've learned in your group or on your online platform from another member that had inspired you or helped you to make an important decision?
Yes, I thank you, Sophia. This is a really awesome opportunity for me to just share that with Women Speak Up, we've had the opportunity to bring women from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and we've had the opportunity to bring women from my home country of Trinidad and Tobago online as participants, but also as guest speakers. And in October last year, we invited a young woman, very dynamic, very well-spoken, very intelligent, a young woman by the name of Crystal Benjamin. And she came to talk to us about young women in leadership. And one thing that she did, she took the phrase "speak up" and she gave us each letter she took, and she gave us a word of encouragement and insight. So for the letter S, she told us S stands for stand. As women, we must stand in our truth. And when we stand, we make a base and we make a foundation for other women to be able to build from. And then she said, P, we must stand in our purpose. And we must be women of purpose. E, empower. We are here to be empowered and to empower others. A, we must amplify our voice and amplify the knowledge that we've attained, which takes me to K, which is about knowledge. We must be about educating ourselves and educating others, in our community, in our family. Then she went on to U, which is about using your voice and speaking with intention, and finally P, we must create places and platforms, for women to be able to share. And we were blown away, but it really, really resonated with me and with a lot of the women, all the women that came to the session, and I wanted to share that tonight for us here on the panel, for those who are listening, that, as women, we speak up, and I especially love the S, which meant standing in your truth and being able to empower another woman to do the same.
I love all of those. Amplify, stand in your truth. It just speaks to us in such a powerful way. The other night I had led a panel discussion and I had said, let's do a power circle. And it was affirmation. Give an affirmational word to you or to others or to yourself. And I gave the word essence to the folks who are on the panel as well as in the audience, because there's an essence about Black women and women of color that there's just that spirit almost, that is that vibrancy. You can actually see it in colors, and it's beautiful, the experience of when we're together. So there's that essence. And to myself, I gave the word fierce. I live my authenticity, and I'm truthful, and I'm honest and candid at times when I need to be. So I gave myself the word fierce. So I give you guys all that same word essence. You are part of the essence of who we are and what we are becoming, particularly our young women who are following in our footsteps. When we ensure to turn around and look towards another woman, we're pulling our sisters up. We ensure that we're pulling them up into the space. If there's succession, then I want to ensure that another Black woman, a woman of color, is taking my space as I move forward into my next piece of journey. So this is what I give, and even to the audience. The word is essence, living in our authenticity. Let me see. Stacey-Ann, what advice would you give to another woman who would like to start up an online community?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still thinking about that word essence. I'm taking that with me tonight. So we're in 2021 right now. And I think if that question was asked last year, I think the answer would probably be a bit different, right? And so what does it look like to create an online community in a pandemic? And so Marin, my co-founder, and I were joking a couple of weeks ago, actually it was probably last week, that we are screened out, right? Like if you are working from home, and I know not everyone is, a lot of the people in our community are working in the long care community centers and, you know, in customer service and whatnot. But if you are working from home and you are looking at a screen all day, that is exhausting. That is totally exhausting. And so I think if I were to ask this question or reframe it, what does it look like to have an online community in a pandemic? I think we need to integrate mental health in there. And so I was thinking about, okay, well, there's 3 S's, and you spoke about one of them, safety, right? Starting an online community, you need to create a safe space. Brenda was talking about that earlier. And a safe space doesn't just come out of the womb, right? Like you have to create and cultivate that safe space for people to be there, right? And so that's relationships. And in an online community, that can be tough. And you know, sometimes you don't know who's going to join your session, and we all have different identities. There's some introverts, there's some extroverts, right? There are folks that have been online all day, so they're going to just have the black screen, and then there's going to be, I'm here, the party starts, right? But either way, you have to facilitate that, that presence for everybody. And so safety is one. And then the other S is to serve. So if you're creating an online community, the idea is that you are serving an actual need, right? If you're expecting people to show up, you need to serve a need, but also to be prepared to be flexible with your initial goals, right? Like when Marin and I started Build Out Loud, we had some ideas, we did the focus group, but then, you know, we usually have an evaluation form after each session. And we really look into those comments and say, oh, okay, people want to talk more. They don't want to hear about us. They don't want to hear too much about us, right? Like less about us, get those breakout rooms, right? So you have to be flexible and be able to serve the community. And so serve, safety, and the other piece, and I'm not really good at this, I usually leave it for Marin, is social media. I'm not the social media techie person, but now, you know, there's so many platforms. There's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn. And so being able to connect with other people is really nice with online communities. There's people right now who's watching this on Facebook. They might be cooking dinner and listening to this, right? So I think that's really cool because you get to communicate and meet other organizations. So social media, serve, and safety. And the last one is self-care. And I won't talk too much about that, but I think because most of us have a computer in our pockets, right? It's so easy to be online like every moment and try to take care of that community, but you also need to walk away from that and make sure that you're okay, you're okay, right? Because it does take some time to maintain, and also the technical piece and stuff. So yeah, those are my points about creating an online community within a pandemic, and especially with the Black community, giving space for people to just be, which is really nice, just to be. Many of us code switch throughout the day. Many of us have like baggage that we just want to release. And so being able to be in a space with people that look like us, awesome. And being able to have a space where people can heal in some type of way.
Absolutely. And those 4 S's are appropriate. And we all use social media to promote our online platforms and promote our businesses and promote our conversations. The safety piece is big too. We want to ensure that people are safe within the conversation and the people who are engaging with us. I ensure whenever people are coming in, I always give them a little bit of, a couple of just, guiding rules and whatever the case may be. Once, that you have to draw the line. You have to be honest with yourself and be able to draw the line and remove anybody that's taking away from the positivity. I haven't really had to have to do that, but I'm willing to do that to ensure the safety of others. So we're not closing just yet. And I have one more question to ask of each of you, because I've done a little bit more of a deep dive on each of your platforms. So let me ask this question for you, Brenda. You have tutoring services within your organization. Give us a little bit more about the teaching and the tutoring, what you guys do there.
First of all, it's also a pleasure that I have somebody who's so passionate about French right now staring at me, Halcian. Newlife tutoring, that's just like me bringing out what is in me. Okay, so I, by profession, I'm a translator. And I also had my first degree, the second degree I had was in French and International Relations. So I have put these 2 together, plus management and the baggages. I have put this 2 part of the French, because actually French brought me to Canada as a permanent resident from Côte d'Ivoire. I'm not an Ivorian, but I lived there for long and worked there. So I have used my knowledge of French to see how I can also help others in terms of women and kids. So the Newlife tutoring, I also found for 2 purposes. One, to pass on knowledge about for people who want to be bilingual, because we do have a lot of people from the government who we give personal classes to, and also students, especially during the holidays, we have classes every day. We are doing it definitely in the center, but now we're doing it online. But the second part also that I use the Newlife tutoring is to encourage women that, listen, every opportunity sees every opportunity in this world. Just to have to be somebody who speaks English, because what if tomorrow you have an opportunity, as we're saying, we want to grow women, we want to develop ourselves, have an opportunity before you that you need to use French. What are you going to do? At least have the basics, just for you to get the promotion. So that is one of the reasons why I'm using French to reach out to women. The second thing also, I'm using French to raise funds for the organization. Newlife is a project, is a self-supported organization. So we do a lot of things through tutoring. When we have, I'm reasonable fee though, but that's why we also raise funds to support the work that we're doing here. So the tutoring is kind of my passion, and I also have other tutors that work with me. So we try to reach out to as many people in Ottawa as we can with our services.
Fantastic, Brenda. Halcian, I know you have a co-founder for your organization, and that is your partner, your husband. When I learned that, I was so happy to hear that. I said, wow, we've got husbands in the game of doing this, building online platforms for women of color. Come on, let's do it. This is amazing. So how has that been able to co-found your organization with your partner?
It's been amazing. My husband is, the driving force actually behind Women Speak Up. And it's wonderful as a woman to have other women support you, but it's extra special when you have men who have a passion for women's issues and for addressing, the needs of women. And so it's been great having my husband on board. He's always, coming up with different ideas. He helps to steer the direction that, we're going in, and we're still very new. So, we're learning as we go, and we're strategizing. And so having his perspective and, him sharing his vision for what he would like to see has been such an amazing experience for me. And I'm really grateful to have him as my co-founder for Women's Speak.
I love that. It's a great Halcian. So Stacey-Ann, you also have a co-founder, and you guys have Co-Work and Chill. So give us a little bit of a deep dive on Co-Work and Chill.
Yeah, so Co-Work and Chill, just imagine you have something to get done. It could be, applying for a job, or starting that idea that's in your head, or redecorating your office space, whatever. Co-Work and Chill is a time for you to get that done. So it's 2 hours. The next one is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first 30 minutes or so, Marin and I teach on a topic. And so in the past 8 months, we've talked about things such as what is deep work, like being able to focus without distraction. What is joy, right? How to create your own personal board of directors. And so once we, stop talking, then we put people in a breakout room that's based on the feedback. So you leave, by the end of each session, you've left knowing at least one person, right? One person. And then once they come back from the breakout room, we have 45 minutes of deep work, which means you get to work on whatever you brought. If you don't have anything, it might be something related to the topic that we just talked about. And then we come back, and usually some people leave their videos on, some people turn it off, it's okay, but we play white noise, which actually helps people to focus. And so when we come back, people share what they were working on, people promote their stuff, people private message each other in the chat box. So that's Co-Work and Chill. And it's so great just because, we've heard stories of people working on their resumes. We've heard people say, hey, this Co-Work and Chill, I was able to write a marketing plan, right? It's literally giving people the time, because we know like the weeks go by so quickly. The days, you're like, wait, that was Friday yesterday, like why Monday? Right? So giving Black women the space, they have it on their calendar, it's 2 hours, they're going to get stuff done, and we're accountable. Like, oh, I know that, Marin is working on something, I know that Natalie's working on something, I know that Sue-Ann's working on something. It's the accountability piece. So that's Co-Work and Chill.
That's amazing. You guys have all wonderful platforms. Let me ask you a question, because I've seen it from all of your networks. How important is it for the mentorship piece and the leadership piece in your platforms? So I'll get you to start, Halcian. Why is it so important for you to have that piece in and a part, mentorship and leadership?
Oh, absolutely, Sophia. The mentorship and the leadership those pieces are so key. And as I started off saying, that we started our first event at Brenda's shop, and Brenda has continued to be a mentor for us to inspire us. And I think as women, we sometimes tend to want to go it alone. We kind of tend to want to deal with issues on our own. And this is where mentorship comes in, where we can connect with another woman who has been there, who has walked that path that, we are now walking, and can tell you, guide you along the way. It's interesting because we had a session recently on mentorship, and the speaker was sharing with us about the fact that, your mentor is not necessarily your friend, because you want somebody who will be able to challenge you, and we're talking about choose to challenge. We're looking for someone who will come alongside us and challenge us so that we can challenge others, right? And leadership, of course, is, influence, right? So you want to be able, all of us here, we are influencing others in our platform and even people online, So when you have a mentor who has, developed that leadership competency, they can also show you little things about yourself that you need to, Sophia, you mentioned tools and strategies and tips. Your mentor will be able to tell you, okay, this is an area where you need to beef up your skills. Brenda was talking about it earlier, that you need to get on top of the technology. So mentorship and leadership, they go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Brenda, you have the youth aspect. So speaking to the young women about mentorship and about leadership and then becoming leaders in their own way as they grow, how have those conversations been in your platform?
I should say they have been very candid at times. As just as she was saying about you don't want to be your mentee's best friend because then it's kind of interrupts with you trying to bring the hard truth at times, because if somebody is not really living up to the plate in terms of imagine time right now is very precious with all the pandemic, and you spend your time as a mentor to invest in maybe in a youth. I do for example, my last intern left a couple hours ago, and I've been working with some of these youth from the various organizations, and I've seen that these people are looking up to you as a leader, to leave a legacy, to direct them in the right direction. So first of all, that takes away that friendship part. It is there, but not that friendship in the sense that wherein you will not be able to correct them when something is wrong. So I realized that as a leader, in terms of working with youth, you have to be very, very direct at times. You also have to be very caring and loving and understanding in terms of what they're going through, because we have been there too as teens, all the hormones and differences. And as a leader also, or a mentor for like youth, as you're talking about, I work with them, you have to help them to give them direction. We all talk a lot of all the teens to the millennials, but some of them, all they need is a direction. All they need is somebody to encourage them, to keep pushing them, to keep giving them the confidence that they need. So personally for me, I have really been enjoying my my young folks here, and when they come in, like I have some of them are here now for the next 3 months. I see them come timidly, they are like, and at the end of each session, when their internship is over, I see something that I was able to impart into them. I see a lot of confidence. I see a lot of things that they're doing now that they never do. So I want to say to us all, even those are listening, at times, even our kids, they are watching us. We are all mentors to our kids. So let's start from the home, and these are the first people we need to drag along when we're talking about mentorship in the community, because I cannot mentor people outside if my daughter and my son are being mentored, in the right way. So you are walking in a footstep, that others are trying to walk in the same footsteps. So you have to be very, very careful. You have to also be very, very, very decisive. You have to also be very, very helpful. They cannot always be like you, but at least they can copy the good parts and, move on with it.
Absolutely. I always say that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. The women who came before us, our founders, led us down this path and created a space for us to be able to build on these type of networks, to be able to build within ourselves and be the empowering women that we are. So Stacey-Ann, who was part of your foundation for you to be able to come to where you are today and now give back in this way?
Wow. A lot of people. I'll say number one, my mom, for sure. My mom. And don't want to make the story too long, but just the sacrifices that my mom had to do for me. And the encouragement, right? Like being a kid growing up, growing up in Ottawa, many times I was like the only Black girl in my class. And that can do a lot to your psyche and identity, right? Thinking that you have to be a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, you wish your hair could do certain things, right? But my mom always reminded me where I came from. And so for sure, the foundation that I stand on is my mom. And then throughout life, I think it's just been different pillars, right? So my faith community for sure is one piece of that, right? And then when I worked in the government for a bit, and there were women of color, Black women that I just like, oh, I see one, okay. I'm holding on to your, like, mentor me, right? And so them for sure. And then I have just a really awesome community of friends that I've grown up with, like, in life, which is so important. And so I feel like it's from a different aspects, different bubbles from my life. And no man or no woman is an island, right? And I think in a time like this, in a pandemic where it's so easy to be isolated, it's important to have those foundations. So yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, Sophia.
Oh no, that is definitely the answer. When you said your mom, everybody was like, yes, our mother is.
Yes, my mother, my grandmother, like, like, this is generational. Like, this is not like my mom's mom, my grandmother's mom, like, it goes down the line. And I think that's the beautiful thing of our community, right? And like, I could see another Black woman or a Black older woman, like, that's my auntie.
Mm-hmm.
That's my auntie.
Absolutely. Our culture, our music, our food, the different languages, the faith. These are all a piece of who we are and the way the foundation came to be and what you brought to your online platforms. And we see that, and people see that, and that's why they're attracted to these online platforms. And when they're accepted in, they even feel even more at home. So that's what I think is happening with the growth of women of color and online platforms. Our platforms are getting bigger and brighter every day, and it's reaching the people who it needs to reach. Our young women, our more experienced women, our aunties, our foundation builders can come in and share and help educate us so we can educate others. I think that's all what's giving these online platforms the love and the push and just the being who we are piece. The being who we are piece has always been something my mother has definitely instilled in me. Be who you are. Don't try to be someone else, Sophia. Who is going to love you will be there, standing there. Just like how you have faith, you will have those people in your life always. And so they've been with me the entire time. So it's been really a rock in my life, knowing that I have that within me, and it was given to me by, again, the giants that came before us. I'll get you all to share. How do you take time for yourself and self-care? Something that does not include your online platform or your forums. So I'll start with you, Halcian.
Sophia, I love to go to the spa, and during the COVID, we've been, restricted, but every time we have that window where we can go out and do things, I go to get my massage, or I go, to get my pedicure. And we have a woman that's part of our community that has her own spa. So I look forward to my next spa trip. But yeah, and I also take naps. I love naps. Naps are very energizing, and yeah. That's my go-to for self-care. I take a nap.
Naps are good. When you're on Zoom all day, sometimes it's something, and you just get zoomed out. And I know for me, I start to squint and my eyes get tired. So I know naps are good. I'm there with you, Halcian. Naps are good. Brenda?
Yeah, I'm also the nap person. When I get home immediately, I call it my power nap. So imagine after moving around, trying to instruct people, being on calls. And then when I go home after that dinner, I have that 30 to 45 minutes when it's like kids out. And I just lay down and at times just maybe turn the television and watch some of these interesting TV shows that will make me laugh, whilst I'm just relaxing before I can get up to continue the day. But naps for me is very important because I kind of revitalize your whole system. And the second thing also, I also love to just spend that quality time with my kids and talk with them. And my daughter is now 15, so getting to that womanhood position, we can like discuss some amount of stuff. So I kind of unwind the day's activity on her, and it makes me feel better about myself. And I make sure I eat well, you know, and definitely take a lot of good vitamins, because we also forget that part of the body. It needs that part for us to really keep going. We burn a lot of energy as women. We're always on the go, go, go. So we need, that's one of my own self-care, the 3 things that I do often.
Awesome. Awesome. Stacey-Ann?
Yeah. So actually, I want to go back to the last question that you asked me. I want to make sure also my stepdad, because I know he might be watching and he'd be like, wait, you didn't.
Yes.
You better.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, Stephen. Yes, he's also part of that foundation as well. There are some good men in my life that have been there as well. Okay, that's checked. I just had to make sure that.
Shout out to the fellows who are supporting us in all facets.
Yes. Yeah. So when it comes to self-care, one thing that I rediscovered during the pandemic is journaling, and I do it in the mornings, and literally just whatever's in my head, just get it on a piece of paper. I find that the mornings are usually the only time of the day that I really have any control of, like getting up and just having routines. I'm waiting for the springtime so I can get back on my bike. For me, that's just being outside and being on my bike is so important. And then something that I've also rediscovered as I'm, healing as a, an adult is play. And just being able to do stuff that, what we used to do when we were kids. And so dancing in my living room, putting on some music, and just letting my body just flow with the music. And I think culturally, that's also part of who we are, right? So that's part of my self-care.
Absolutely. My music too. My soca, #1 in my life. Absolutely. Have to have it for sure. And then there's times, I really go deep with my spirituality and my spirit, and I listen to my gospel music. These are some, you have different genres, you have different things that you do in your life. So these are some of the different pieces that I have. I'm not a writer, but when I'm ready to write, I find I'm flowing and I write like how I speak. So it's all coming out in one way. It's not perfect, but it's something that needed to kind of go down on paper and to be released. So that's part of the release too. And like I said, and like Halcian said, power naps, those, it's necessary. So I'm telling everybody in our audience and anybody online, get out your pens and notepads or your phones and go to your notepad, because we are going to ask each woman to tell us where they can be reached. How do we reach your online platforms? Where do we go to get a hold of you? Where can we reach you? We'll start with you, Brenda. Like, where can people find you? Oh, you're on mute, Brenda.
We have an office at 2000 Thurston Drive, Unit 5 in Ottawa here. It's not far from the Conroy and St. Laurent Boulevard. So it's the next junction, and it's a green building right there. We have an office there where we do have also a boutique within. So that's a place where you can also find us online. You can find us on Instagram at Newlife Project Inc. and on Facebook also. So we do have 2 online platforms on Facebook. We have the Newlife Design. So in case you're looking for African Black cultural stuff to wear, those things. And we also do have the Newlife Project, where we have all these online forums or programs that are posted from time to time. We now have a YouTube, which we just created, and a Twitter, we're still working on it. But then we also do have a website, which is the main go-to. So it's www.newlifeprojectinc.org. And that's where you can have all the information of the different divisions of Newlife.
Fantastic. Halcian, where can everybody reach you?
Okay, so Women Speak Up Ottawa on Facebook and Instagram. Women Speak Up Ottawa, don't forget the Ottawa. And we also have a website, womenspeakup.ca, and you can reach me by email at info@womenspeakup.ca. So I look forward to hearing from all our viewers.
Awesome. Awesome. And Stacey-Ann, where can they reach you guys?
Yeah, so our website is buildoutloud.ca. We're also on Instagram. If you just search Build Out Loud, you'll find us there. We're on Twitter, Build Out Loud as well. And email, you can email us at hello@buildoutloud.ca. And all our events are posted on Eventbrite. So even if you searched Build Out Loud or Co-work and Chill, you'll find us there. You'll find us there. And we have an event this Saturday, Co-work and Chill.
That's fantastic. Oh, ladies, this was an awesome discussion tonight. I want to thank all of my panelists for coming in. Brenda, Marie-Ange, Stacey-Ann, and Halcian for sharing your amazing platforms. Be sure to follow them all, guys. They are all super amazing, wonderful women with powerhouse platforms. Be sure to follow them. I want to again thank our sponsors, Black Ottawa Business Network, Aroma Salt Therapy and Beauty Spa, One Resources Services Corporation, Clean Beauty and Soaps, and the Ottawa Women of Color Networking Group. I also want to give thanks to our team here in the network for helping to put together this amazing conversation. It was wonderful. Please continue to follow us and our panelists on social media. Canadian Women of Color Leadership Network. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And right now we are working on our website to be able to upload it so we can ensure that we're bringing you all the great mentorship, all the great leadership. We've got great programs and services coming your way. So continue to follow us here. We are going to have other amazing conversations to bring you guys over the time. So follow us and be with us. And we wish you all well this evening and give thanks again for this amazing conversation and have a good evening.
Thank you.